Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Start of a new week and a new month. Hope you all have a good one. Three things that you can look to hear in today's episode: the impact negative rates will have on UK lenders, some second quarter GDP estimates for the US, and details of a busy economic calendar this week. Major indices traded lower for much of Friday's session but went up after Trump's press conference. The S&P 500 edged up Friday, notching a second consecutive week of strong gains and its best two-month performance since 2009. All week, President Trump teased the market with the possibility of big changes in the relationship between the US and China, but to everyone's relief, his press conference revealed nothing exceptionally damaging. Trump said the US will be terminating its relationship with the World Health Organization, which was widely expected, and there was no mention of tariffs on the Phase 1 trade deal between US and China. He said the travel relationship for Hong Kong would be changed and they would review Hong Kong's special policy exemptions. Currencies and equities rallied in relief. The US data was weak though, with personal spending falling negative 13.6% in the month of April and trade deficit widened to 69.7 billion from 65 billion. Personal incomes rose 10% thanks to jobless benefits, but clearly that did not translate into spending. Fed Chair Powell also spoke. He reiterated that it's not clear negative rates are appropriate for the US and they are not close to any balance sheet limits. The yield on the 10-year treasuries decreased about 4 basis points to 0.65%, and the dollar was mostly weaker against the G10 peers. WTI rose about $35 a barrel on Friday for the first time since March. For May, it surged about 88%. That's the biggest monthly advance on record. OPEC Plus is close to bringing forward its next meeting to June 4th from an earlier schedule of June 9th or 10th. President Trump's plan to end some trading privileges for Hong Kong is doomed to fail and marks a gross interference in China's internal affairs. This is according to commentary in the People's Daily, a mouthpiece for the Communist Party. Hong Kong's government also said that the actions would be unjustified and that China is within its legitimate rights to pursue new national security laws. China's PMIs showed a recovery which came out on Sunday, but manufacturing was worse than expected. The non-manufacturing index rose to 53.6, driven by construction. But the print was above 50, which showed that a print above 50 shows expansion, and both the prints were above 50. In the meantime, in the US, violence spread across the US over the weekend, with the demonstrators and police clashing from New York to LA, leaving behind burnt-out police cars and damaged property. The National Guard was summoned to several cities to help quell the increasingly heated situation following the killing of George Floyd. The Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis modeling now sees the second quarter GDP at a negative 49.8%. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now index suggests a contraction of 51.2%. Remember, this is the US GDP that we are talking about. India, in the meantime, grew 3.1% last quarter, beating expectations, but a deeper slump is likely to come. Growth for the fiscal year through March was estimated at 4.2%, in line with consensus. A separate report showed that fiscal deficit reached 4.59% of GDP, breaching the government's 3.8%. On equities, a pretty light earnings calendar this week. Broadcom would be reporting on Thursday and Zoom Video on Friday. On some news, Tencent is in talks to invest $200 million in Warner Music's IPO, which is set for next week. India's largest IPO may be delayed beyond March 2021. The government may not be able to meet its target of raising about 900 billion rupees or $12 billion from the listing of LIC, which is Life Insurance Corporation, and a sale of stake in IDBI Bank because of the current market conditions. Moving on to rates, Embracing negative rates is an option for some central banks and notably for the UK. An issue identified by UBS is that introduction of negative rates in the UK could entail a blanket charge on all banks' reserves rather than just excess liquidity, as there is no minimum reserve requirement in the UK. Now, that is not good news for UK lenders or UK banks and their share prices. So that is something that we need to look forward to as this story kind of plays out over the next couple of months. Lastly, on the Forex side, the excitement continues with a very busy economic calendar. There are 3 central bank decisions that will come out. RBA, which is the Reserve Bank of Australia, Bank of Canada and the European Central Bank. US non-farm payrolls is also on the dock, and major data from Australia and Canada's labour market is also scheduled for release. RBA is expected to keep its main policy programs unchanged on Tuesday. So too is the case for Canada, which has options to add stimulus but will probably stand pat on Wednesday to allow more time to evaluate the progress of the existing stimulus programs. ECB will release its latest economic projections and use it as a justification to increase bond purchases. That is what the market is expecting. We heard from a number of European policy makers last week who all seem to suggest that more easing is on its way. Now, that included ECB's President Lagarde, who on Friday said that it's very likely that the ECB's mild scenario is out of date and the economy is likely between the central bank's medium to severe scenarios, which means GDP could fall between 8 to 12% in 2020. That is your market update. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and speak soon.